Hello everyone, welcome back to Force Fellow. My name is Ashok. Today in this video, we will discuss one of the most important topics in LWC, that is LDS, Lightning Data Services. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced developer, or you are someone who is preparing for Salesforce interviews, understanding Lightning Data Service is the most essential for everyone because it offers a variety of powerful features that can simplify development in LWC. So if you want to be a successful Salesforce developer, then this video is must watch for you. Because here I'll try to cover everything in detail, though video's length may be quite long, but I'm sure if you'll watch it completely, then you will have very good understanding of LWC and will feel confident in your day-to-day programming or in interviews. Alright, now let's see what you can expect from this video. So first we will start by understanding what is Lightning Data Service. And then we will see how LDS works and do communication with server. And then we will jump on advantages of using LDS. And after that we will look into available ways to use LDS, or we can say how to use Lightning Data Services. And also we will cover base components and how to use them. Here we will also cover Lightning UI API module and see what all wire adapters and functions are available to do data operations. Then finally, we will discuss about the limitations of LDS, or we can say what we can't do using LDS. Okay? Throughout the video, we will cover these topics with practical scenarios, so stick around for the next few minutes. Alright? Now, let's move ahead and discuss about what is Lightning Data Service. So, we can say Lightning Data Service is a powerful declarative service that helps to work with Salesforce data and metadata in LWC without writing Apex code. What does it mean? It means in LWC, if you want to work with Salesforce data, like let's say you want to perform card operation on a Salesforce object, or let's say you want to access object metadata, like you want to get object field details or want to get picklist values. Then to achieve such kind of requirements in LWC, generally we have to write Apex code. Why we have to write Apex code? Because LWC is a client-side technology which runs on client, not on the server. And our data generally available on server. I mean, if we talk about web applications, then there we have two ends, client and server. Server is the system where our code and data available. And in case of Salesforce applications, server will be a Salesforce system. I mean, system which is available under Salesforce premises. And if we talk about clients, then client will be a system or device where we are accessing that website or application. So if you are running that application in our browser, then our browser will be called client. Okay? And as I was saying, LWC runs at client side. It means at our browsers here and our data available here at server in a database. Right? Now in LWC, let's say we are working on a functionality where we have a requirement to get and save some data into database, then directly using LWC, we can't perform that operation. Why we can't achieve that requirement only using LWC? Because as I said, LWC only run here on client. I mean, whatever code we write in a LWC component, either in HTML or in JS file, that code will always run here in our browsers. So whenever a client will request for a LWC component, then server will return a compiled component bundle. Then finally, client will execute that code here. So inside that component, if you want to read data from database, then that is not possible. Why? Because our data is available here on server and our component is getting rendered here on client side. Right? So obviously, LWC can't directly go to server and talk to database and perform data operations. Right? Now, to achieve that requirement or to save or read data from database, we have to write code in those technologies which runs on server and talk to database on behalf of LWC. And you know, Apex is the server-side technology in Salesforce. I mean, Apex runs on Salesforce servers. So generally, if you want to perform something with data or metadata, then we have to write code in Apex. Though nowadays we can use flows as well, but generally Apex is the option to achieve such kind of requirements, right? It means now if you want to perform any data operation from LWC, then we have to write Apex code. Then from LWC, we'll call that Apex method. And via internet, that request will go to server. Now that Apex code will talk to database and perform data operations, right? So this is what we have to follow if you want to work with Salesforce data in LWC. I mean, we have to create an Apex method and call that in LWC. But, in LWC, it's generally not recommended to write custom Apex code for everything or for smaller tasks. Salesforce always recommend to use declarative tools instead of custom code to enhance simplicity and maintainability. So that's why Salesforce provide lots of out-of-box features. And to perform all basic operations with data and metadata, Salesforce has introduced a special service or layer that is called Lightning Data Service. This service runs on Lightning platform, and LWC also part of Lightning platform. It means now in LWC, if you want to perform basic CAD operations on data or want to retrieve metadata, then we don't need to write Apex code. In those kind of scenarios, we can use Lightning Data Services. Okay? I think now this definition is clear to you. And Lightning Data Service is built on top of User Interface APIs. Now, if we talk about User Interface APIs, then we can say User Interface API is a public Salesforce API that Salesforce internally used to build Lightning experience and Salesforce mobile UI. Like its name suggests, UI API is designed to make it easy to build Salesforce UI. To understand more, let's refer this diagram. So, in Salesforce, data and metadata always stores on server in a database. Now to build Lightning experience UI, like to build these out-of-box pages, Salesforce created a generic API which support all the custom objects and most of the standard objects. I mean, Salesforce internally use user interface APIs to get data in all the out-of-box components. Okay? Now let's understand how these user interface APIs works internally. So here you can see at server, at bottom, first we have database. Then on top of that, we have user interface APIs. This user interface API layer contains generic methods to perform basic data operations, like to select, insert, update, or delete a record, which means for every object, we don't need to write code to perform all these basic operations, right? Now, on top of user interface APIs, or we can say using these user interface APIs, Salesforce built a JavaScript module that runs at client side and can be used in LWC components, that is called Lightning Data Service. Now, using this module, we can perform all the basic data operations that user interface API supports. It means now in LWC, if you want to perform basic data operations, then we can use Lightning Data Service. So as recommended, always before writing custom Apex code, first we should check whether that requirement can be achieved through LDS or not. If yes, then we should always go with LDS. Now, if we use LDS inside LWC component to perform data operations on server, then how that will work? So in that case, LWC component will call LDS method or adapter, then LDS will call respective user interface API, and then finally user interface API will perform data operations in database. Okay, so this is how LDS internally works. And as I said, LDS supports all the custom objects and all the standard objects that are supported by user interface APIs. External objects, person accounts, and custom metadata types are not supported by LDS. So in that cell, we can say LDS only supports those objects which are supported by user interface APIs, because LDS built on top of user interface APIs, right? And I'll share a link in description to see what all objects are supported by user interface APIs. So you can check out that if requires. Alright. So as of now, we have covered what is LDS and how it works. Now, before diving into how to use LDS, first let's see what are the advantages of using LDS. So first advantage is it reduces code and complexity. What does it mean? It means, as we discussed, LDS built on top of user interface APIs and provide many out-of-box components and adapters. So if you want to perform basic data operations, then we don't need to write custom code. It means if you use LDS, then we don't need to write Apex code, DML statements and SQL queries by ourselves. All we need to use out-of-box components and adapters. We'll discuss more about them in some time, okay? And if we'll not write custom code and we'll use out-of-box features to perform data operations, then it means we don't need to worry about test coverage and governor limits, and also our development time will get reduced, right? So we can say if we use LDS, then we can reduce custom code, and if code will be less, then complexity will also reduced, right? Next important advantage is client-side caching. What does it mean? It means whatever data we retrieve from server using LDS, those data will get stored into client-side cache. And client-side cache means in our browser's local storage, or we can say in our browser's memory. Now, whenever we require those data again, then LDS will return those records from local storage only instead of going to server again. It means we can say if we use LDS, then our application performance will improve. How? By reducing server round trips. I mean, if same record is required multiple times either in same component or in multiple components, then to get that record, LDS will not make server calls again and again. First, LDS will check whether that record is available in local storage, then directly return from there. Let me explain more this with a diagram. So whenever a component tries to get a record using LDS, or we can say using wire adapters, then first that request will go to the framework. Now here first framework will check is data available here in client-side cache. I mean, if we are running application in browser, then framework will check in our browser cache that is data available here. If yes, then it will return data to framework and same data return to the component, which means our request will be fulfilled from client side only. I mean, framework will not make a server request in that case. And in case if data is not available in client side cache, then framework will make a request to server, and then whenever framework will get data, then first it will store data into the client side cache. After that, it will return data to component. Okay, so whenever we load our component first time in browser, then obviously data will not available here in client side cache. Data is only available on server. So in that case, framework will make a request to server and get data and store that data into client side cache. Now next time, from that same client or from that same browser, if any component make request to get same record, then data will be returned from client side cache only, or we can say from our browsers only, which means no need to go to the server again and again. So that's why we can say if we use LDS to work with Salesforce data, then our component performance will be better and server round trips will be reduced. And due to less hits on server load will also get reduced, right? So that's why in LWC, it is always recommended to use Lightning data services wherever possible. Okay. Next advantage we have automatic UI updates. LDS provides automatic detection of changes to records and ensure that user interface is dynamically updated when data is modified. What does it mean? It means if we update record using LDS, then along with database, LDS will also update that record inside client-side cache and then notify other components about the changes and force them to refresh record changes. Let me show you this with a real-time example. If you see this account record page, then here we have three different out-of-box standard components. This is the highlight panel, this one is record detail, and this is the activities component. And on this page, we can see account name in two components, here in this highlight panel and also here in this record detail component. Now once we'll update this account name from this record detail component, then name will automatically get updated here also. Let's try. Alright, now we can see name has been automatically updated here in this highlight panel also. Now the question is how this happened. This is because highlight panel component is internally using wire adapter to read record details. So whenever record get updated inside database, then LDS update those details inside cache. And about that change, also notified other components which are available on same page. Okay, I hope this point is clear to you now. Next advantage is security compliance. So while performing metadata and data operations, LDS always respects user permissions and sharing rules. What does it mean? It means when we use LDS to perform card operations, then prior to make database operations, first LDS checks whether user has permission to perform respective operation or not. For example, let's say user has read permission on account object but don't have edit permission. Then if that user tried to update account record using LDS, then LDS will throw an exception. This is the built-in functionality inside LDS. But if we write custom apex to perform card operations, then externally we have to check user permissions there. Because by default apex runs into system mode, not in user mode, right? But if we use LDS, then user permissions will automatically apply. I mean object level, field level and record level security will automatically apply. Okay? I hope now you understood how beneficial LDS is for a LWC developer and why it is always recommended to use. Alright? Now let's move ahead and see how we can use LDS or what all available ways we have to use LDS in LWC. So first and very basic way is using base components. And if we talk about base components, then we can say base components are nothing. These are out-of-box standard components created by Salesforce team for adding new records and editing and viewing existing records. It means Salesforce team already created few generic components which can help us to add new record and edit and view existing records. There are three base components available: record form, record edit form and record view form. And these are available inside Lightning Manage package. So while using them, we have to add Lightning as prefix. And you can also find these base components code in Salesforce GitHub repo. So if you want, you can check out there. Let me show you where you can find that. Here on browser, just type base components GitHub and open this Salesforce base components recipe GitHub repo. Here, let's open Force app. Then main default and here open LWC. Now here let's press Ctrl F and type record. In left sidebar you can see this is the record edit form, this is the record form and this is the record view form. And also here we have code files. So if you want to see code of these components, then just click on respective file. That will open here like this. So if you are curious to know how these components works in background and what code they have written, then you can check out this repo. Okay? And also you can clone and modify their behaviors if you have any custom requirement. Alright? Next we have wire adapters and functions. Wire adapters are special functions provided by LDS that helps to retrieve Salesforce data and metadata in LWC, leveraging cache mechanism. And also LDS contains few JavaScript API methods. So using them, we can perform card operations on Salesforce data. We'll discuss more about each adapter and function in detail in coming slides. Okay. Next we have GraphQL API wire adapter. This adapter is recently introduced in Sprint 23 release, and GraphQL enables declarative data fetching where a client can specify exactly what data they need from server. What does it mean? It means using GraphQL adapter in LWC component, we can specify what data we require from server. And also we can query multiple records even without writing SQL queries. This is a new and very interesting feature. So I'm thinking to create a separate detailed video to explain everything related to GraphQL wire adapter. Do let me know in the comments if you also want me to create a separate video on this topic. Okay. So as of now inside LDS, we have three technologies to work with Salesforce data and metadata. Alright. Now let's move ahead and discuss about available base components and wire adapters. GraphQL will cover in a separate video. First, let's start with Lightning record form. So this Lightning record form can help us to quickly create forms to add, update or view a record and allow us to switch between view and edit modes automatically when the user begins editing a field in a view form. I mean, this base component can be used in three scenarios, like to create a new record or to view and update an existing record. Okay. Now let me show you how this component looks like. In my org, I already created a component for demo purpose. So let me open that. Here, this is the example of Lightning record form. Now by default it is in view mode, and once you click on pencil icon, then it will convert into editable form like this. Alright. Now here we can update value of any field, like let's update account name and remove this 1 to 3. And once we'll click on save, then data will be saved into database. Okay. So this is how Lightning record form looks like. Now if you see what code I have written to create this whole form, then you must be surprised, because to build this whole functionality, here I have written only these 2 lines of code. So simple, right? Now let me explain it to you. So as we discussed, anywhere in LWC, if we have a requirement to show a simple form with fields, to create a new record or to view and edit an existing record, then in that case we can use Lightning record form base component. And if we talk about how we can use that, then this is how we can use a base component inside custom component. Now here you might be thinking why we have used Lightning record form, because as we have seen on GitHub, component name was only record form. Then why we have used Lightning additionally here? So the reason behind this is, whenever we want to call another component, then first we have to write component package name, under which that component is available, then hyphen, and then component name in kebab case. And these base components are available under Lightning package. So that's why here we have used Lightning, then component name in kebab case. In kebab case, capital letter will convert into small with hyphen. So this capital F will convert into small with hyphen. That's why here we have used Lightning -record -form. Alright, I hope this point is clear to you. Now let's move ahead and discuss about few important attributes that we can use with this record form. So with record form, if we want to define which objects record we want to create or view, then that we can define using object API name attribute. Like here we have defined and passed object API name as a property that we declared here with account value. It means here we are saying that in this form we want to create or edit account record. Which particular record? So if you want to define which particular record you want to edit or view, then that we can define using record ID attribute. Like here we have defined and passed this record ID property. And if we'll not pass this attribute or we'll pass blank as value, then form mode will automatically change to add record instead of view or edit. Okay. And to specify what all fields our form should show, then that we can define in 2 ways, either using layout type attribute or using fields attribute. With layout type attribute, we can pass out of box 2 values, full or compact. Full means it will show all the fields which are available on your page layout, and compact means it will show only those fields which are available on compact layout. If you don't know about compact layout, then we can say it helps to show key fields for a record. Let me show you where you can find compact layouts for an object. So once you will open your object in Object Manager, then in left side you can see a menu as compact layouts, and here you can define all the important fields of record, and those fields will be visible on top of record detail page here. Okay. So in your record form, if you want to show all these fields, then we can pass compact in layout type attribute. And here in this example, I have also passed compact. That's why here we can see only those fields which are available here. Okay. So layout type full means it will show page layout fields, and compact means it will show compact layout fields. And all these fields can be configured by system administrator dynamically. I mean, system administrator can define fields inside page layout or in compact layout. And if we use layout type attribute with our record form, then those fields will automatically populate in our form. Okay. But now let's say you don't want to show all the fields which are available on compact layout or on page layout. we only want to show 2-3 fields or fields which are not available on those layouts, then in that case what we can do? So in that case, page type attribute will not required. You can create a string array of fields that you required and then pass that array in fields attribute. Okay? So in nutshell, in record form, we can define fields using 2 attributes, either using fields or using layout type. Alright? Now, if you want to define how many fields should be visible in a row, like here we can see 2 in a single row, account name and type, why 2? Because here we have passed 2 as value in columns attribute. So here you can define any number as per your requirement. Okay? And default value will be 1. And record form supports 3 modes: edit, view and read only. Here you might be thinking, what is the difference between view and read only? Then we can say view mode will have pencil icon with fields to switch in edit mode like this, but read only will show data in only read only mode without edit option. Okay? So using mode attribute, we can define in which mode we want to load form initially. Okay? And in Salesforce, using record type, we can control pick list values. So if you want your form to load pick list values from a specific record type, then you can pass that record type ID in record type ID attribute. Else it will automatically take default record type ID. Okay? So this is how using multiple attributes, we can configure our Lightning record form. And along with these attributes, this form also raises few custom events. So if you want to perform some custom logics on certain actions, then we can listen these events. Like this component will raise on error if anything went wrong. So in your component, if you want to receive and handle those errors, then you can listen this event. And if you want to perform something on data load, then you can listen on load. Similarly, if you want to perform some custom logics before saving data, or you want to override default saving process, then you can use on submit event. And after successful data save, if you want to perform something like showing toast message, then you can listen on success custom event. Okay? So we can say by subscribing these custom events, we can perform custom logics on certain phases of record form. I mean, everything is written in base component, but by subscribing these custom events, we can perform our custom logics as well. Alright? In this video, I'll not practically show how you can subscribe these events and perform customization. If you want to learn about that, then either you can watch my live project videos, link is available in description, or do let me know in the comments if you want me to create a separate video to cover complete LDS features practically with a use case. Okay? So this Lightning record form is super easy to use, and we can create new records and view and update existing records without writing single line of custom code. I mean, here we didn't write single line of Apex or JavaScript code to view and save account record, right? So wherever possible, you should start using it without concerning about user permissions, test coverage and governor limits. Because here everything is out of box, so we don't need to worry about them. Alright? Well, everything is fine with Lightning record form, but here we have a major problem. That is, it doesn't allow us to customize layout rendering for fields. What does it mean? It means whatever fields we want to show in this form, those all fields will have same look and feel on UI. Like here you can see each field has same look and feel. I mean same width and alignment, right? Now, if we talk about a scenario where let's say our client wants us to show these fields in a different look and feel, like this. I mean in one box, client wants us to show few main fields, then other fields they want to show in a separate box with different background. This is just a hypothetical example, but here key point is, if our requirement is to show fields in a custom format or with a custom design, then in that case record form can't help us, because in Lightning record form we can define what all fields we want to render, but in which design they should render, that we can't define in record form. Okay? I hope now you have good understanding on Lightning record form. So now let's move ahead and discuss about another base component, that is Lightning record view form. So we can say Lightning record view form can help us to quickly create a form to view a record in read-only mode. Also, it helps to render a customized view of fields along with conditional field rendering. What does it mean? It means if we have a requirement where we want to display data with a custom design, then in that case, record view form can help us. And if we talk about example, then that we have already seen. I mean, this is the example of Lightning record view form. So using this form, we can show data in a custom design. Okay. Now let's see how we can use this form or what code I have written to create this form. Here we are calling Lightning record view form component and passed object API name along with record ID. And then inside this form, here we can write our custom HTML and design form as per our requirement. So here I have used Lightning layout and used SLDS classes for box and background. So this HTML I have written for demo purpose, but here you can write anything as per your actual requirement. And if you want to refer record fields, then you can use Lightning output field component and pass field API name that you want to render. Okay. Now let's go through this table as well. So we can use object API name attribute to define which objects record we want to show, and can use record ID attribute to pass particular record ID. And here we don't have any specific attribute to define fields. In record view form, fields HTML we have to write manually using Lightning output field component and need to pass field API name in field name attribute. And to define columns, here we can use SLDS classes or we can use Lightning layouts. It's completely depends on us or on our requirement. So we can say here we can create fully customized form. Alright. And it supports only one mode, that is read only. We can't use it to edit or create a record. And it supports only onload custom event. So if you want to perform custom logics on data load, then you can subscribe it. And also here we can show fields conditionally by using conditional template directives like using LWC if else. Okay. Now let's move ahead and discuss about last base component, that is Lightning record edit form. So we can say Lightning record edit form can help us to quickly build a form to create a new record or to update an existing record. Also it helps us to render a customized view of fields along with conditional field rendering. In nutshell, it's pretty much similar to record view form, but only the main difference is using record view form, we can only show data on UI, and with record edit form, we can create a new record or we can update an existing record. Now, let me show you a demo of record edit form. Alright, here you can see fields in edit mode with a custom design. This design may look odd to you, but this is just for demo purpose, so it's fine. And here along with editable, we can show fields in read only mode as well. Like here we are showing type field in read only mode. And as I said, here we can conditionally hide and show fields. Like once I'll uncheck this checkbox, then these fields will hide from here like this. And once I'll check it, then fields will be visible again. Okay. So this is how if we use record view or edit form, then look and feel we can customize as per our needs. Alright. Now let me show you what code I have written to create this form. Here we have used Lightning record edit form base component and passed object API name along with record ID. If you want to create a new record, then pass this record ID as blank, or you can remove this attribute as well. Okay. And then inside this form, here we can write our custom HTML and design UI as per our needs. And if you want to refer record fields in edit mode, then we can use Lightning input field component for any kind of field type, like for pick list, text, or for any kind of field, and need to pass field API name in field name attribute here. And then internally, this component will check field type based on this field API name and render UI accordingly. Okay. And to show read only field, here also we can use Lightning output field component. Okay. And to set conditional visibility, here we have used LWC if directive. This whole HTML I have just written for demo purpose, but here inside this form, you can write anything as per your actual requirement. Alright. Now let's go through this table as well So we can use object API name attribute to define which objects record you want to create or edit, and record ID attribute is optional. If you want to edit an existing record, then you can pass it with that particular record ID, or to create a new record, you can remove it, or you can pass blank value inside it. And here also, we do not have any attribute to define fields. In record edit form, fields HTML we have to write manually according to our needs. To show a field in edit mode, we have to use lightning input field component, and to show in read-only mode, we have to use lightning output field. And in this form, we can also use other HTML elements and components as per our requirement. It's completely customizable and up to you. Okay? And here columns also we can customize as per our needs using SLDS classes or using lightning layout. And if we talk about mode, then inside record edit form, we can show fields in both edit and read-only modes as per our requirement. Okay? And if you want to render pick list values for a particular record type, then you can pass that record type ID using record type ID attribute. And also this form supports these events. So if you want to perform more customization, then you can subscribe these events. Here in demo, I have used onSuccess because I wanted to show a toast message once data saved. Like once I'll click on this save button, then you will be able to see a toast message like this. Okay? And to show this toast message, here with form element, I have added onSuccess event listener and assigned this handler method, and then in JS file, created this handler method here and showing toast message. Okay? So this is how you can subscribe these custom events to perform custom logics on certain operations. And if you want to know more about how lightning record edit form works, then you can refer my live project, Build Your Own Retro Board. Over there, I have explained everything in detail. Okay? And as I said earlier, these forms internally use Lightning Data Service, wire adapters and functions. So we don't need to write additional Apex code to create or update records. And as you know, LDS also takes care of field level security and sharing rules. So users will see only those fields and records on which they have access. For example, if I'll remove permissions to this website field, then it will automatically get removed from here as well. For demo purpose, let me open my profile and remove permission from this field. My user is having system administrator profile, so I have opened that. Now here let's open field level security for account object. Click on edit and remove permissions from website field and click on save. Now let's refresh our component again. Alright, now we can see website field on any of the form. Like we can't see here in record form, also we can't see in record view form, and also not in record edit form. Okay, so that's how base components will automatically take care of object, field and record level security. Now let's do a high level comparison of all these base components so you can decide which one you should use when. So if you have a requirement to create or edit a record, then if there is a simple requirement, then you can go with record form, else you can use record edit form. And in case if you want to show a record or want to show data in read-only mode, then you can use record form or record view form. And if you want to use same fields which we configured on page layout or on compact layout, then we have to use only record form and need to define layout type attribute there. But anywhere, if you have a requirement for custom design or custom layouts for fields, then we have to go with record view or record edit form. Okay? And if you need a single line answer about when we should use record form, when record view form or when record edit form, then we can say always try with lightning record form. If that is not flexible enough, then we should try with record view or record edit form. As compared to record form, they are more configurable but also have more complexity. With record view or edit form, we have to write more HTML as compared to record form, right? I hope this comparison will help you to choose best component for your requirement. Alright, that's it about base components. Now let's move ahead and discuss about Lightning UI API. So we can say Lightning UI API is a JavaScript module that is built on top of Lightning data services and contains wire adapters and functions. Or in other words, we can say these are the JavaScript APIs to work with Salesforce data and metadata. Which help us to perform CARD operation on Salesforce data and retrieve metadata. And if we talk about available modules, then as of now, we have these 4 modules: uiRecordApi, uiObjectInfoApi, uiRelatedList API, and uiLists API. uiRecordApi contains functions or adapters to work with Salesforce objects data. Or we can say if you want to perform CARD operation on an object's data without writing Apex method, then we have to use uiRecordApi methods. We'll talk about those methods in next slide. Okay. And uiObjectInfoApi module contains wire adapters to get objects metadata and pick list values. This module is used when developers need to access information about Salesforce objects inside LWC, such as object fields, record types, and pick list values. We'll discuss about each method in the coming slides. Next module is uiRelatedList API. It contains functions to get related list metadata and record data. So while working in LWC component, if you want details about related list, then we can use methods which are available under this module. Okay. And at last we have uiLists API. So if you want to get list view details inside LWC component, then we can use functions which are available in this module. Okay. Out of these modules, first 2 are very important and we often use them while working in LWC components. So now let's talk about important functions which are available under these modules. First, let's start with uiRecordApi module and discuss about getRecordWireAdapter. So in LWC, if we want to get single record without using custom Apex, then we can use this getRecordWireAdapter. How we can use this? Let's understand with an example. Instead of here, let me show you in component. So as a first step, we have to import that function or adapter from respective module on top of component class. Here we have imported this getRecordWireAdapter from Lightning uiRecordApi module. And if you press F12 on this method, then you will be able to see this method signature in a type declaration file. This file is automatically created by Salesforce with SFDX project. So here you can see as a input parameter, first we have to pass record ID that we want to get, and this is a required parameter. And then what all fields you want to get, that we can define using these other parameters. You can read these parameters description here, or if you want to know more, then you can refer Salesforce documentation. Link is available here. Okay. So if you want to use any method, then first we have to import that here from respective module. And getRecord is a wire adapter. Wire adapter means it is used to get data and will call through wire decorator. So here to call getRecord, we have used wire decorator and passed record ID here. And in fields parameter, we have passed array of fields. Here we can pass fields name statically as a string like this. Or we can also import fields reference from schema module like this. Importing fields reference from schema module is recommended from Salesforce because it helps in many scenarios. Okay. So this is how we can call a getRecord method using wire decorator. If you want to know more about wire decorator, like how it works or what output it returns, then you can check out my Decorators video. There I have explained everything related to wire decorator. Link is available in description. Alright. Next adapter we have getRecords. So using getRecord, we can only retrieve single record. But if you have a requirement to fetch multiple records, then we have to use getRecords adapter. Here as an input, we have to pass all the record IDs that we want to fetch and also need to pass fields in fields input parameter. Next function is create record. So as discussed in LWC, if you want to create a new record, then first you should try with base components, and in case if base components can't help you, then you can use record method to create new records into database. How to use this? Let me show you in my another component which I created in Design Your Own Retrobot live project. So if you want to learn in detail, then you can refer that live project. Link is available in description. But at high level, if you want to discuss about it, then as a first step, we have to import it from Lightning uiRecordApi module. Then first we have to create an object with required fields. I mean whatever fields we want to save into database, those fields we have to store in a JavaScript object with respective value. Like here I have created fields object and passed field name with value that we want to save. Then in another object, we have to pass Salesforce object API name in which you want to create new record. Here also, you can provide object name statically as a string, but as a best practice, here I have imported it from schema module. Okay, and with object name, here also we have to pass fields detail, and then finally pass these details into create record function. This function will return a promise. So to resolve that, we have used await. If you don't know about async and await and you want me to create a separate video to explain, then do let me know in the comments. Okay, so this is how we can create new record from LWC component without writing custom apex. Next function we have update record. If you want to update an existing record without using base component or custom apex, then you can use update record function and pass field details that you want to update along with record ID. And if you have a requirement to delete a record from LWC component, then you can use delete record method. In that same live project video, I have explained update record and delete record functions as well. So you can refer that if you want to learn more about these functions. Okay. Next we have notify record update available. This method informs Lightning data service that record data has changed so that Lightning data service can take the appropriate actions to keep wire adapters updated with the latest record data. What does it mean? It means, LWC stores data in client-side cache. So whenever any update happened in cache data using LDS functions, then along with database, LDS will also make that update in cache data. It means cache data will always up to date, right? But if you update data using apex method, then LDS will not aware of that. It means in that case, cache will have older record. Now, if our components wants to get that record using wire adapters, then LDS will return old values. Because if data is available in cache, then LDS will return data from cache only. LDS will not go to server to get that same record. So that's why in our component, we will have older data, right? Now, if we call this function after updating data using apex method, then this method let LDS know that record has been changed externally. Please update cache as well. So internally, LDS will refresh latest data from server. So that's why our component will have always updated data. Okay. So this thing we should keep in mind. Like if you are updating records using apex method and getting that same record using wire adapter, then we have to call this notify record available method and need to pass that record ID. Alright. Now let's talk about wire adapters which are available under UiObjectInfoApi module. So under this module, there are 4 adapters available. First is getObjectInfo. This adapter helps to get metadata of a specific object, and in response, we can get everything related to object like fields detail, child relationships, default record type and available record types, and many other details. Okay. So in your LWC component, if you have a requirement to get anything related to object, then you can call this adapter. For example, let's say you want to get picklist values in your LWC component. Then how you will get those picklist values which are defined on your picklist field. So to read picklist values in LWC component, we can use this get picklist values wire adapter, and here as an input we have to pass record type ID, because in record types we can configure what all options we want to show in a picklist. So while getting values, we have to pass record type ID as well. So accordingly Salesforce can read picklist values, right? Now the question is how we can get record type ID inside LWC component. That's where we can use this getObjectInfo method. How we can use? Let me show you in my another component that I have created in one of the hands-on project. So here my requirement was to read gender picklist values which are available in contact object. Now to achieve this requirement, first we have called this getObjectInfo method, and passed contact object API name as input. And here we are calling get picklist values adapter, and this is how we are passing default record type ID. I mean, we are directly reading it from this contact object info. And if you want to know more about it, like how it is actually working, then you can refer add multiple records hands-on project. Link is available in description. Okay. So this is how we can call these var adapters in LWC and read objects information. Alright. Next adapter we have get object infoj. So if you have a requirement to get metadata of multiple objects, then you can use this adapter. And as an input, we have to pass those objects API name in an array. Okay. And last adapter we have get picklist values by record type. So if you have a requirement to get values of every picklist which are defined in a specific record type, then you can refer this method. For example, let's say in an object we have 5 picklists. Now let's say you want to get those picklist values which are defined under X record type for all those 5 fields. Then in that case you can use this adapter. It will return values of all those 5 fields which are defined under that record type. Okay. And as input, we have to pass object API name and record type ID. I hope this is clear to you. Alright. Now at last, let's talk about limitations of using LDS, or in what kind of scenarios we should not use or we cannot use LDS. So first limitation is, at a time, LDS can only perform operations on a single record. Using LDS, we can't work on multiple records at a time. I mean, we can't perform bulk operations. So anywhere, if you have a requirement to work on multiple records, like you want to create multiple accounts in a single go, or want to get all the contacts which are available under an account, then in these kind of scenarios, we have to choose other path. LDS can't help you in such kind of scenarios. Why LDS can't support? Because you know, LDS is built on top of user interface APIs, and user interface APIs are built to work on single record at a time. Okay. So I can say with LDS, this is the biggest limitation we have. Next is outdated cache. So you know, LDS always store response in client side cache, and for subsequent request, data will be returned from cache only. Right. But sometimes we could see older data if same record is updated by someone else. But once you refresh page, then you will be able to see updated data. So it's fine. Next is LDS doesn't support all the objects. And the reason behind this is internally it uses user interface APIs. So it can only support those objects which are supported by user interface APIs. But you know, all the custom objects and most of the standard objects are supported. So it should be fine. Okay. Here I can say the biggest limitation is we can't perform bulk operations using LDS. Other than that, everything is fine. Alright. That's it in this video, where we have covered everything related to LDS. If this video helped you to learn something new, then please help me to by like and subscribe this YouTube channel, and also follow ForceFellow LinkedIn page. If you have any questions or suggestions, then feel free to write in comments, and also don't forget to share your feedback about this video in comments or on LinkedIn as well. That will really give me motivation to create more such kind of videos for you. Once again, thank you so much. We'll see you in next video.